if you are going to a cruise line to say, hey, I want to have 300 cabins, can you please give them to me? And I want to do something there, they're going to laugh at you. They will not take you serious.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Inspiroqa podcast. Today we have a special guest coming all the way from Germany, and he is the founder and CEO of Nomad Cruise. For those who doesn't know what is Nomad Cruise, it's basically cruises for digital nomads coming all around the world who want to hang out together, create relationships, create a great community. So without further ado, let me introduce our special guest, Johannes Voelkner from Germany, from Nomad Cruise. Thank you so much for coming here. How are you today?
It's a pleasure. It's good. Yeah, I'm super well. I was just like going through the rice fields to meet you here. It's very, very nice. I'm having a good day.
That's the best. We met also yesterday. You did also podcast for Robert, right? For Speaker Monday. So I went there just to get some inspiration, and it was a really nice conversation. So let me start this podcast with asking the first question. What is Nomad Cruise and how did you get this idea?
So Nomad Cruise is basically a floating traveling conference. And the idea is that we are creating like really meaningful connections and amazing experience on a cruise ship, which is very unique in that way to connect people. An amazing place actually to meet each other because we're all on the same boat. Yeah. And we're going from one place to another. And when we arrive, a lot of us continue traveling together. So it's a really, really cool way for digital nomads to first meet a lot of people and then travel together for like 1 month, 2 months, or even forever.
Damn, I've been traveling for the last couple of years. I'm kind of also digital nomad, and it's on my bucket list to join Nomad Cruise. I was thinking about like, oh, you have also cruises to Antarctica, right? Yeah. So my question is talking about these cruises. You join every single cruise, or it really depends how you feel?
So far, I've joined every single cruise, but I'm not gonna do it all the time.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah. So I did this in the past. I joined every single cruise. There was just once where I was not able to join the cruise full because we actually had one cruise that was going to Brazil and another one leaving 5 days later, going from Athens to Dubai. So I was just for a few days on the one to Brazil, and then I jumped on the plane and I flew to Athens. And then there was one time when we had like over 600 people on the Pacific Ocean and the Mediterranean, like on the way to Dubai. So that was the only time where I didn't join the full one. But I'm not gonna join all of them for forever.
And how long it's been running, this one? Since when you launched this?
We launched Nomad Cruise in 2015. So this is the 10th year.
Wow, that's a beautiful one. So you survived also those crazy years between 2020 2022, right? I'm happy for it. It's really big, really nice idea. It's not just like about I want to have people because I don't want to be alone on the boat. It's about creating a community, right?
Exactly. I mean, if you just go on a cruise ship with, a few people, it's not always super exciting. This is really about creating community. I mean, when you're a nomad and when you go to so many places, it's always like kind of hard to build your network when you're coming to new places, and it always takes some time. And this is just like a connection accelerator for your personal life, but also for your business. A lot of people who are coming on the cruise, they end up working together. They make big projects together, like everything, all these things happen.
So what I understand, the story behind creating a nomad cruise is like, before you launched this project, you were already digital nomad?
Exactly, yes. So the reason why I launched the project was because I was a digital nomad. I was traveling by myself at a time when there was really not much nomads around the world, and there were not many hotspots. Like, it was just slowly starting in Bali. Actually, the digital nomad scene started in Ubud and not here in Canggu, where now everything is happening. And so I was traveling around the world, and I found the lifestyle amazing, but I found it like pretty hard to always connect again from scratch in each destination. And once I had like a really cool community, like in Rio de Janeiro or in Buenos Aires,
Yeah.
I kind of had to leave again because my visa was running out. So my idea was that I wanted to make something that's a bit easier and where it's like easier to plug in, and I wanted to do some nomad project, but I didn't really know what. And after traveling South America by myself and working from different destinations, I really enjoyed the lifestyle, but it was very hard. And then I saw one cruise ship that was going from Spain, like kind of escaping the winter to South America. Was a great deal. And I thought, okay, if we're all going to jump together on this cruise ship, then, we are traveling together, or like, we can meet up again. People are all on their own. Nomads are always on their own agenda, but they also like to meet up again. And so I shared this idea that we can do this. We can jump on this boat together. And over 100 people booked this within 3 weeks. And it was just a group in a Facebook group that I started. It was actually the first Facebook group for digital nomads. And and then I had the project, about 100 people the first trip. And then I developed it more. And I think now we had over 3,000 people on the different trips that we organized. Yeah.
That's really lovely, man. Those people are from all around the world, right?
Yeah, I think we counted once like over 70 different countries.
Damn. That is still like 120 more. So
Yeah.
But I like the idea because you connect people from all around the world. Like, for example, if you want to be digital nomad, you go to Southeast Asia because of the price of the cost. And you can meet people from all around the world. Either it's Thailand, Vietnam. If you have more money, you can go to Japan, or here in Bali as well, or even Australia. And I'm happy that digital nomad lifestyle became more popular these days. I first touched kind of digital nomad lifestyle when I did internship in 2014. That's the time when you started, right? The Facebook group and something like this. And I was like, wow, I'm just staying in an apartment by myself, and I'm working for a marketing agency, and everybody working for the marketing agency. There was a guy working from Thailand in 2014. Sorry. But in 2020, the companies were also thinking about like, oh, maybe, people cannot go to the office. Let them work from their house. And suddenly we have home office, we have freelancers, right? So I'm happy that this lifestyle became more popular, and you just need Wi-Fi, you need stable connection.
COVID has been the biggest accelerator for this lifestyle, right? So I remember in 2014, 15, whatsoever, like for me, it was kind of a no-brainer. Like, hey, internet works, Skype is working, I can do this from where I want, right? Like, and there were not many people. It was really, really small community. I felt like in the beginning, we all knew each other, and everyone was like in the same 3-4 places around the world. And now, it's so big. But then when COVID came, like everything really, really changed. But I saw this already from the beginning. I was like, okay, well, this will be, a big, big change. First, we're going to go all the way down. But now, we are, without COVID, we would probably be not even in 10 years where we are now with this remote work lifestyle, right? So it's been a huge accelerator. So it took our freedom and it gave our freedom.
Yeah, it created a lot of great ideas, great projects. People, I think, got more together, supporting each other, which is also the power of the community that you create. What was the biggest challenge, either as a digital nomad lifestyle before you started Nomad Cruise, or also during this last 10 years?
I think my biggest challenge was like to decide on destinations. So on the one hand, I really love traveling. On the other hand, jumping from one place to another is also not very sustainable. It's very, very difficult to focus on your business and do things, and like kind of like balancing between these two things. On the one hand, you really want to be everywhere around the world. And, there are people who are crazy, right? Like they did this for 12 years. They still want to like really almost be in a new country every 3 weeks. And it's so hard, right? Like you're sacrificing so many different things. So like finding the balance between having on the one hand like a home base, and then on the other hand, traveling around the world. That has always been a challenge for me. I think the main solution is like to really, if you have a home base, to have this in a place that you really love, where you really like, have a cool community or whatsoever, like something like here or in Chiang Mai or in Lisbon, because we kind of like, we are all these people who really want to have a lot of access to a lot of different things. And if we're just moving to a normal city, it's maybe sometimes a little bit too hard to like really blend into this lifestyle that is there.
So before you were a digital nomad, just a digital nomad, what was your job that time and what was your biggest motivation to not be working in a hub or office from 9 to 5, just working from all around the world?
Okay, so actually, I only did work 9 to 5 for 4 months of my life. And the reason was, it all started with, I studied in Cape Town and I met my ex-girlfriend there. And she had a really nice business in Cape Town. So I decided I want to live there as well. But in South Africa, it's very, very difficult to make good money. Plus, you only have 14 days of vacation. So I wanted to also stay connected with my friends. It was not my idea that I will travel the world. I just wanted to be with my friends in Germany sometimes, spend more time with them, and like have my base in Cape Town. But I was making 500 euros a month. So I knew, like, hey, this is not what I want to do. Like, I actually never really wanted to be an entrepreneur or anything, but I wanted to be in Cape Town. So I was looking for solutions to live this lifestyle. And then I started to look up business ideas, a lot of business ideas all over. And that was in 2007. And at that time, Tim Ferriss just published the 4-Hour Work Week when I was doing the research on these things. And for those who don't know, Tim Ferriss' book, The 4-Hour Work Week, is kind of a little bit like a Bible for digital nomads. It was like the first book that really shifted a lot of people's mind and created a lot of amazingly successful businesses from people who were inspired by this story. When you read it, everything sounds super easy. It's not that easy. It's not the goal to just work 4 hours a week, but it's the goal to run an automated business or build a nice business that you can run from anywhere in the world. And when I read this book, I was like, okay, this is my solution, because I was working in safaris. I always actually wanted to be in tourism, which is kind of what I'm doing
kind
now.
of tourism, yeah.
But I realized like I can't work in South Africa. I can't do this. So I read the book. The book really inspired me to first like just go online, but I had zero skills. I didn't know nothing to work online. So my first idea was actually that I start a virtual assistant agency, because Tim Ferriss is speaking a lot in the 4-Hour Work Week about this. Yep. And I saw that there was a trend of Germans also wanting to have digital virtual assistants. So I was the first virtual assistant in Germany. I started actually a virtual assistant little website where people can post jobs, which is still alive. And then what I did, so this was like the slow transition, to entrepreneurship. But basically, I posted my email address in a forum, and I got so many leads from people who wanted to work with me, because I'm the German virtual assistant living in Africa.
Got you.
In Africa, apparently, and so I got a lot of people, but I got really annoyed by them. But they all paid me to learn, right? So one guy asked me like, "Oh, okay, how can you install a website for me?" And I was like looking into WordPress. So I was like, okay, I figured this out. I made a website.
It's always like...
Then I was like, oh, this is actually fun. Like I can build more websites whatsoever. And then what happened is, one thing I really enjoyed was online marketing. So I helped one guy in Switzerland to do marketing for his products. And I learned web design. And I really liked the online marketing part of it. And then my mom had a business that didn't have much marketing, and I thought, okay, maybe I can help her with her product to sell this online. And so I was just like trying a little bit, but the thing is that it worked out, and it became a really successful business in the like cards for therapy. And because I was like really trying to figure out like how can I make this work for her. And this business gave me a lot of freedom to travel the world how I wanted to without having to maintain any clients. So I was working on that. But then after a while, I realized like I actually want to do a project that is more for my purpose or for something that I want. And then I started to, apart from working for this project, this e-commerce project, which is still running well, and even until today, I started to dive more into the digital nomad things, and then eventually started the cruise.
So you shifted your mindset, talking about a business, a mentality, everything, from being a freelancer as a digital nomad, because usually digital nomads are kind of freelancers, right? Your website is like Fiverr or Upwork, or even like local-based website where you can just search for a job, and then you probably have to set up a company because of the taxes. Doesn't matter where you set up, but it's different. Like if you are a freelancer on one hand and you want to become a business owner. Right now, you are not a freelancer. You are literally a CEO and founder, a business owner, right? Yeah. So you started this company by yourself, no other partners, and it was founded also from your own money, or you have like a partners or investors, or?
No, what I can say is like, and this is something I would share with everyone, like that is really, really important, is like think about ways to start things lean, right? The cruise, if you are going to a cruise line to say, hey, I want to have 300 cabins, can you please give them to me, and I want to do something there, they're going to laugh at you. They will not take you serious. But I basically organized a meetup on the cruise ship. And I had a community. I mean, this is one thing. There are different elements. I can go. Shall I go through them?
Yeah, let's go.
So, the one element I think, like when you're starting your own business, is that you need to think about ways like how can I make it lean? How can I make things simple? If you want to start a co-living or a retreat, you don't need to own the building, right? Like you can rent, you can talk to people. They're always partners or whatsoever, and that's what I did, right? Like we met on the ship. And all I actually really had was like people who booked the trip, and I had a logo. I basically produced t-shirts, and the t-shirts that I sold to everyone, I used to pay the web designer to make a logo for Nomad Cruise, kind of like this, right? So this was really the thing. So it was not actually that complicated. Now people always think like, oh, they own the ships or whatsoever. No, we just like make good negotiations with the companies. And but what's really, really important before you start any business, in my opinion, and like even more important today, is that you need to build community. So if nobody would buy a cruise or whatsoever if they wouldn't maybe have known me before or whatsoever, especially when you start your own first projects, it's so important to get the first buy-in from people that you have been around. You know, maybe you organize some meetups, or maybe you've just been around and like a lot of people know you. Communities are always like a huge accelerator for your business. That's why, you know, you're doing the podcast. That's also community building, right? Like people get to know you, and you're building contact, you're building relationships. When people just start a business without having any of this, it's kind of hard. It does work when you just launch a product on Amazon, like, which also works amazingly. That I also know a lot of people doing this. But think about it, you know, what kind of business you want to do. If you want to do a people business, you need to build community first.
Yes.
So that has been key, and that's what I did for 3 years before I launched the cruise. And that's why it worked, and that's why I had over 100 people joining on the first one, because for 3 years I was giving almost free everything. I had organized already events for over 300 people. I did done some things in Tarifa, like smaller ones. I had spoken at some conferences. So it's not that these things just happened by coincidence. It happened because a lot of people knew me, a lot of people had talked to me before, and that is really key. One thing I can say, because I like to share this always, and I would love that one day someone comes to me and says, thank you for sharing this. So I think that there's a huge opportunity in cities, in big cities in Europe, to start to build digital nomad communities there. So let's say you're in Amsterdam and you start to bring everyone who's interested in the digital nomad lifestyle, you start to bring them together. you're in Berlin, you can do this there. In all the big cities, because there's a lot of people who are living in Berlin and who want to just escape the winter. Yeah. And building a global community, forget it, right? Like that is already done. But building communities in big cities and really connecting people there who kind of like live in the same city and then explore and escape the winter together, I think there's huge opportunities, very, very big opportunities. If anyone also wants to do this, they can also reach out to me. But like I always share this because I think that, you know, if you're thinking about building community, think about something that doesn't really exist yet, because then there's like a natural demand for people to go. There's already like digital nomads meetups happening every week in the city. Yeah, there's no point to do it.
I
right?
checked the website yesterday because you mentioned you're going to Thailand next week, right? If I'm not wrong. And I was like, let's Google it. What kind of event is going to be? And it's in Chiang Mai next week. And I was like, just put in a Google like Digital Nomad Summit, and I got a list on my website, like including this in Thailand, that there was maybe Portugal, there was Argentina, the other countries. Either it was like a big summit or just like we just want to hang around, you know, just doing some stuff. You mentioned that make it simple. Your business is supposed to be simple. So if I understand correctly, because I have this question, I wanted to know the answer. Those boats that are using for those cruises, your company doesn't own those ships. You just basically rent them. Like you call them like, hey, can I have free cabins for this
Cruise
event?
ships are very big, and I mean, we are just, you know, making like up 20% of the passengers. It is still something that needs to be negotiated, like over one. Like at the moment, I'm talking to companies about trips that will happen in October 2026. Mm-hmm. So in almost 2 years. Yeah. That's what I'm like. That's where my headspace is right now, right? In order to know like what will be in the future. I used to not do it like this, but it's much easier to, you know, think so long term, and yeah, like, but you know, that's with everything. Like, there's always an easy way to do something. There's always a way where you don't need to have so much money in order to do it, where you can build it. You will make less profit, right, if you don't own certain things, but that's no excuse.
Right now I understand how it is. So basically you rent this boat. So but for example, when there is a big boat, because you're gonna have this year like first trip from France to Greece, right? In summer 2025, which is in a couple of months. And this cruise has maybe, what's the maximum capacity of people, if so I can understand?
Over 2,000 people.
2,000. But you don't bring 2,000 people.
No, we just bring like around 300. But it doesn't make a big difference. So that's also what a lot of people then, if they realize like, yeah, it's not just us on the ship, but like other people as well. It's absolutely no problem because we have a lot of private venues, right? So
thank you so much for mentioning this one.
We have private venues, we have private theaters. Mm-hmm. The community hangs out together. It is like we have the ship for ourselves. Yeah. We have our own restaurants. We have private venues almost all day, over 70, 80 hours per cruise, where we have our private events where nobody else is entering. So it doesn't matter that there are other people on the ship. Yeah. And we have like nice wristbands, so you understand really like who's part of the group and stuff. So yeah, that's key as well.
Thank you so much. I understand it right now because it's the same like there's a big hotel with 10 conference rooms. You just make like a business with one and they're gonna put like, oh sorry guys, you cannot join because it's a private event. And talking about the staff, you have your own people that working with Nomad Cruise like full time, or every cruise has the other people, or you have like a stable team working remotely?
We have some part-time people. We don't have really full-time people, but we have like 2-3. It's actually quite a small team. Mm-hmm. Who's doing this? Someone working in marketing, customer support, and putting together the program. But these are not all of them like a full-time or even part-time positions. Yeah.
But whenever there is a cruise, it's not just you taking care of 300 people.
No, actually,
you have to have somebody, right?
I'm not doing like when the cruise is happening, that's when I start to enjoy and just like network and meet the people. We have a team of about 20 to 30 volunteers who are on the ship, and most of them have been there before, so they all know how it works, and then we are coordinating. So when the event is happening, we are like, we've been up to 50 people organizing the event, so like as volunteers and whatever. It takes quite a lot of effort in order to do it.
So if somebody wants to volunteer in one of the cruises, there's a form where people can apply, or
There's
what's
a
the
form,
process?
but the best way to volunteer is to come first by themselves and
Join the cruise.
join the cruise and be great people and be inspiring and like really give more than they take. And then usually we come to them and ask them if they want to be volunteers. So it's a bit more, we don't usually just take people who just apply.
And before the cruise starts, do you personally check all the cruise cabins, or just like, because like this is a great example. You're gonna have a new cruise from France to Greece, right? You personally go and check those boats, those ships, the stuff working
Yeah,
there.
we go sometimes. Yeah, I'm checking. Sometimes
Yeah,
someone
that's-
of the team is checking. Yeah.
Just in case to make sure, no?
Sometimes we also check the destination where we go, right?
Mhm.
Like, so because on the ship, one thing that we do is that after we arrive, we are going to different places, right? Like when we go to Greece, we're not just gonna stay in Athens. Like let's say half of the people are flying home right afterwards, and with the others, we're doing 2 weeks island hopping. So we're traveling together. We're going to beautiful places, and then sometimes we also go to these places to check this out before, what we can do there.
Talking about traveling, which one is the best destination that you've been to so far? And why?
Every destination is different. I mean, I love Cape Town. It's one of my favorite cities in the world, and where I really like to spend a lot of time. It's just so beautiful, incredibly beautiful. I love kite surfing. It's one of the best places to kite surf in the world as well, around this time of the year. For like unique experiences, there's a place called Los Roques in Venezuela, also like beautiful archipelago, where we went once with friends, and like that always comes, you know, in memories of like something amazing that we did. We were just hanging out there. I've been like in many places all over Africa. Also the things that you love, they change as well, right? Like, so at the moment I also really like Bali. I just like to be here, right? Like, and it's not the most beautiful beaches or whatsoever, but like it's a beautiful place with great community. So always depends a bit also what we're looking for, right? But yeah, I've been to many beautiful places around the world. We could do a full podcast on that.
Yeah, just about the traveling. Yeah, maybe next time we can start a travel podcast. So Nomad Cruise, do you have like an office, or it's running full like remotely?
I have an office. I'm not there so much, but yes, and so in theory, like it's a pretty much remote business that we run from everywhere around the world. Yeah.
So basically, you have to have like you said, you have your stable team. You have like people working part time or full time. So you have like weekly meetings with the staff to keep the company running, explaining what our new challenges, statistics, and so on. Yeah.
I mean, the good thing is, or one thing that is also, you know, like some of the people that I'm working with, we work together since over 7 years. There's not so much I need to explain anymore, you know, or like actually they know many things much better than I do.
For sure.
So it's quite, you know, if you have people that you keep for a long time and that you work together and where you're like establishing a good connection with, business also becomes much easier.
Yeah, it's all about the trust and having, because I see these days, you know, people these days they don't want to work for a company for, I don't know, more than 2 years sometimes. I was working for a company for 1.5 years, then I quit and I became digital nomad, for example, because I don't know, it was just a calling, let's call it from the God or from the universe, right? Like there's something more coming on for you. Just enjoy that path. So I just followed. But I also admire people working for a company like more than 30 years. Like my mom, she's been working for one company for over 30 years because they want to have a stable income. Those people are scared, you know. And as I can see, you weren't scared about just like you said, you had a job only for 4 months, then you quit, take the responsibility for your life. What was the biggest motivation? Because maybe there's people looking for this kind of opportunity to become digital nomads these days, and they have a job 9 to 5. Maybe they are scared, to leaving the job and start like out of zero.
Yeah. Well, I would be so bored doing a 9 to 5 job. I think it would make me really unhappy. But we are all different people, right? For some people, it's more important to have this security and they feel good with this.
Yep.
And for me, I feel good with like doing different things and, exploring different ideas. Like that's where I thrive. So, um, for someone who wants to start, I mean, I think the key thing is, yeah, like these days there's so many remote jobs, right? Like there are easy steps. Think about your skills that you have. Think about, how can I use the skills? How can I like find some clients or someone who does it for me? Don't just jump into the cold water and start to travel and then build a business at the same time. It's not gonna work. But you can go to a place that's maybe a little bit cheaper, where you don't need to spend so much money, where you don't need such a huge income, and then like actually connect with people, right? Like something like Chiang Mai, it's not super expensive. Bali is, I guess, like already much more expensive, and you will learn so much just by being there, right? You will accelerate your learning, or come on the cruise, and you will also meet so many people who are doing things and who already have this figured out. Don't figure out everything by yourself.
Yeah, it's all about the
I
connection.
did this, but it took me so long. Like it can be much faster.
I did the same also by myself. The story, so that you can understand why I became digital nomad. In 2018, I went to Bali for a vacation. A week after I came back to Czech Republic because I was living in Prague, I hosted a big travel event. I had the conference room maximum for 200 people, and I was a host there. And there were people already being like digital nomads. So after that, I asked them like, well, how is it? How is the lifestyle and so on? And then there was a big call from the God, if I'm not wrong. And it was like, no worries. Because I was working still for a company. And he said like, you're going to quit this job. Just come to your boss and tell him, with this job, I can do it remotely. I don't have to go to the office because I didn't have meetings. So that can also be start for some people just to experience traveling. I also met some people like from Slovakia, Czech Republic, or USA, still working for the same company, but they could do it remotely. So they wanted to experience traveling around the world, while they're being stable financially. Because the biggest challenge, I think, talking about my culture, it's finances. Once I quit my job and I had a vision like I want to be an event manager for some company, I went totally broke. Within 6 months, I lost everything. I almost killed myself.
I had the same. I was also like, when I started the cruise in the very beginning, I was never so broke like at that time, because I had like really full focus. There was nothing really coming in from starting it, and I couldn't focus on the other things. So it was really, it was a challenge. And then I had to borrow some money from a friend for a little bit, and then I got it working, But yeah, it's part of it also sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to walk like and experience almost everything in order to learn.
And do you consider this Nomad Cruise as your life mission, purpose?
I mean, I did already like quite a lot with the cruise, and I did quite a lot for a lot of people. I think that the cruise has helped so many people around the world to start business, to have collaborations, to find life partners, get married. Um, it's not my life mission anymore. I keep it going and I develop it, but what is also really important for me is myself, and that I focus on the things that that I really enjoy, because for the last 10 years I had this on my mind almost the whole day.
I see.
And I got really tired of it. Like, why do I need to think about these digital nomad projects all the time, and like what can I not do? And like now I'm just like switching a little bit away. We are like doing super well with the cruise. Like it's kind of running nicely, but I'm not like really trying to develop or to put things on top. I'm just trying to find like really cool routes and take the project step by step, and we'll see where this goes. It's not really my life. Yeah, I think like it already has helped enough people that I can be proud of it. And now whatever I do with this is a bonus.
So maybe there will be the other projects similar to building a communities. Who knows? Like, what are your
Yeah,
goals?
I mean, one thing I think about at the moment quite a lot is to start like a hotel for digital nomads where digital nomads can invest into that hotel and own part of that hotel. That's just one idea that I have that I'm playing around with quite a lot. Like I have some ideas, I know some concepts who are doing this. Maybe that's gonna be something for the future.
For sure, I do believe it's gonna happen. Like you built this company, Nomad Cruise, just from a scratch, right? From an idea that it took like, how long did it take to create this project? You scheduled within 5 minutes, like you saw all the project, or it was like, oh, I have some idea, but I don't know the name. I don't know what it's gonna.
With the cruise,
With the cruise, yeah.
it was 5 minutes.
So I was right.
I mean, I saw this opportunity that we can all jump on the ship, and I knew about the difficulty of connecting in places. Then I thought if we all go together to South America, it will be like a more fun time. And then I just shared the idea, and then there was a natural demand. Like that's also one thing I want to say. Like a good idea or good project doesn't need a beautiful website. If you have something where there's like demand, like what that gets people excited, if you just share it with them, then you're onto something, right? Like you can almost market and sell anything in the world, but it's so much more harder work. If there's like a little bit demand, like this was not a hard sell, right? So when I launched the idea.
You mentioned like the book of Tim Ferriss, the 4 hours week, right?
Yeah.
Do you still study some personal development, like either it's online courses, or I've seen on your Instagram page that even within those cruises, you have like ecstatic dance, you have a lot of speakers, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I when I find something interesting, then we bring it on the cruise, or when someone of the team like finds something interesting. So, I mean, at the moment, I really enjoy like this whole like kind of a little bit spiritual world. There's a lot of interesting things here happening in Bali, and like in other places, I've taken part in this. So when I find something where I feel like okay, this is something that could help also other people or like could inspire them, then we bring it on the cruise. So um, yeah, like I always like to experiment or like grow, make progress in life. So I enjoy this. Yeah.
And people might be also interested in this question because we see a lot of business owners all around the world. Either they have families while they can travel at the same time. How about you? Are you still a solo traveler or you have a family that travels with you, or how is it? Because this is the biggest question of the people who want to travel. Like, oh, I want to travel, for example, to America for 2 months, but I have 2 children, I have a wife, and like this.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of digital nomad families also that I know, and they travel maybe a little bit different. They come here to Bali, for example, and hang out here for 2-3 months, and then they go somewhere else. Yesterday, I was talking with friends who just got a baby, and they decided that they want to travel for the next 4 years. So they're gonna take it easy. They have a good business setup, so I think that is key, right? Like that you are kind of that you have a nice and well running business, but like there's nothing really, at least until the kids have to go to school, that can keep you from doing this. And also, I mean, the traveling really is not something like it's something amazing, but I think that it's nothing that we need to do for forever. And if we feel like we have to do it for forever, then we also need to look into ourselves and think like, okay, maybe there's something I need to work on by myself, because like traveling is always exciting and that gives you a lot of things, but it's not the solution, right? Like we all have our personal issues or whatsoever, and traveling doesn't help it, doesn't make it go away. We need to find the other way as well and do a little bit of personal development.
I agree.
That can also make us happy, not like being on the road all the time.
And are you happy these days?
Yeah, I'm very happy.
That's good. I'm so happy that you find happiness in your life, and you also have a lot of knowledge coming from the personal development, also from the business. What advice would you give to people who thinking about starting a business? Let's say, let's give this simulation like they have some money, for example, $10,000. They have some idea, but they are maybe scared of starting a business, even they have a beautiful, great idea that could help many people. No.
Mm, I mean, it's kind of what I like. I think a key thing is like, okay, what can you do to not spend so much money? If you have $10,000 and you live in New York City, that's gonna be gone before you wake up, right? So find a place that has got a cool nomad community, hang out there, like just go there for 2 3 months, see if you get some nice inspiration there. You will accelerate so much faster, or come on the cruise, get a lot of inspiration there, right? Like, um, and then think about your skills, how you can use them, but just don't spend so much money, right? And also like really think, for what are you spending money? Like, are you now gonna pay someone to make the website for you? Are you gonna pay someone to do all these things for you, or are you actually gonna learn this yourself? Because like these days, there are so many like no code projects. You can build your own website. You can do like so many things first just by yourself. And I think like if you want to start something, start a business, and you don't have so much money to spend, then you need to invest some time in learning as well, right?
I understand that. Yeah.
So I can, for example, I know how to build websites. I know about sales copy. I know about databases, digital marketing, ads, Facebook ads. Like I learned all these things. I taught that all by myself.
And right now, you mentioned Facebook and Instagram, social media ads. You set up those ads by yourself, or you have somebody you can trust working?
I have someone who can, like, now these days, I have almost someone for everything.
That's good. That's the best. That's the dream of every.
I first had to learn it, and like I do understand most of the things that I give to other people. So it's not that I'm like feeling super dependent on them. If I need to do something myself, I can almost always do it, which is almost a little bit not a good situation, right? Because then sometimes you tend to do too many things yourself. But I taught myself a lot of things, and it's good to learn and teach yourself a bit.
It's
If you're
gonna-
not willing to do it, then you shouldn't probably start a business.
Yeah, for sure. But in the future, you're gonna be more busy, and when you, for example, have a business already running for a couple of years, you have a money for that. It's better to delegate. Otherwise, you're gonna kill
For sure,
yourself.
for sure.
Right?
For sure, you need to start delegation as fast as you can, but it's also good to understand all key processes in your business. And like if you're selling certain things and you don't really know how everything works, it's also not good, right? So finding the balance is really key.
Do you have any dreams, or already reach all of your bucket list?
Um, I mean, I like to make like slow progress in life, right? So dreams, I don't really have. I mean, I don't really have dreams, but I just like to, make progress, feel a bit more settled, and things. So I've done like a lot of the nomad life. I really enjoy this, but I'm also like feeling that I can calm down, maybe start a family one day or something.
Oh, that would be great. That's part of our lives anyway, if you want to have it, you know. And then when you have a family, like you said, there's a lot of story. Like the family having like, oh, we have a baby for next 4 years. You're gonna be just traveling. The doors are open.
Yeah.
You have a nice business running very well, helping a lot of digital nomads, putting all together, right? That's a nice question. What was the best case, or like of people that met together because of Nomad Cruise? Do you have some cases where people really got into a business cooperation, or maybe a marriage or whatsoever?
So I'm not sure 100% if this worked out, but there was one connection, I think, that led to a over $10 million deal. So it can be impactful in many ways. Like that happened quite recently. People got married, people got kids. There's like literally almost everyone who goes on the cruise ends up working or doing a collaboration with someone. Like there's endless collaborations in many ways. There's people, have this show, it's called Piranha Tank. It's like kind of like our version of Shark Tank, where people can share their ideas. A lot of people launched their business on this show, and like one girl, Valerie, she launched the Nomad Gossip magazine. Just the idea, she was sharing the idea, and then she got a lot of feedback, and she launched like a real magazine, with the support of the community. There's endless ways how people are working together and making collaboration.
That's great. Because of these communities, people can create new projects. They can find somebody who can invest like this $10 million business. That's the power of community. That's why I also created Inspiroqa, to put people all around the world to together go for a cruise, for example. If I have a chance, that would be nice anyway. Inspiroqa will join the Nomad Cruise. Wow.
So I can say, one thing I can say with regards to the cruise, or like, being in Bali or being in Thailand or traveling in another way, now we met yesterday and now we met again.
Yeah.
If we would be on a cruise ship, I would have already seen you for breakfast, for lunch. I would have walked past you when I would go to the conference. So it's a real accelerator of building relationships. If you find someone there that you find interesting, or that has an interesting business or whatsoever, you have this way that you can connect many times, like even on the same day. And if you think like, living here in Pereiranan, you meet someone, but then you only meet them again in like 2 weeks. Yeah. So like it takes much longer time to actually really get to know someone. And if you come on the cruise and you say like, hey, I want to make like, let's say like 15 really good connections on the cruise with people that I like, that can help me in my business or whatsoever. If you put this as a goal, then you can totally do it. And the same thing would take you so much longer in any other places.
Because people have the same mindset. There's a reason why they came. It's digital nomad from all around the world. They're either freelancers.
Same mindset.
Yep.
Same boat, right? On the same boat. Multiple connections a day, not like by accident that you're meeting in a coffee shop or whatsoever. Also, everyone who is going there is coming there to meet people, right? Because otherwise you wouldn't go there, you would just book your own cruise or whatsoever. So this environment creates like a really inspiring situation.
There's a nice question I have in my mind. Talking about the cruise. When there is a cruise, for example, from France to Greece, there's a nice example that I remember very well. You follow the cities where the cruise is gonna stop. So they create the program, and within you put like the digital nomads, and you have the same program, because you said like you don't go just within a few days from France to Greece without any stop. You, for example, stop in Italy somewhere or in Greece, Athens, right?
Yeah, there are some stops in between, and then we do things.
So you follow the program.
Yeah. But we don't follow the program. We make our own program.
But when you stop in some cities, it's because before people go for this boat, you already give them like, this is our agenda, right? Following the agenda of the cruise, talking about stopovers in the other cities.
Yeah. But I mean, in the other cities, we are doing like walking tours, and we're doing things. We're getting everyone together to explore the city together. Yeah.
And like you said at the beginning of our talk, in these cruises, there are also people who just using the cruise, not joining. If they are already, let's say the situation, if they are already in the boat and they see like, oh, there's like a beautiful event, there's like a, for example, Ken Honda speaking about the money, can they join the event, like pay for sure? It's a paid for.
They can't.
They can.
They need to do it before.
Okay.
Like it's just for people. Okay. It's a completely different thing.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure because the question just came all of a sudden.
Yeah, for sure.
My other question is, what message would you give to people all around the world? What would be your message to them? Because this podcast is about questions and answers and messages to the people.
I think like, if you have something that you want to do, don't think too much about it, but like, try to do it or make steps you can make. So I also always like to say one step at a time. Like the cruise is not one thing that I did from one day to the other. This was like a thing that I built over 3 years until the first one happened. And then, I developed it much further. The first cruise, there was almost no program. It was like completely unorganized. It was a huge mess. It was just me. Then I organized one cruise, just myself and one assistant. For 200 people, we put together almost the program. So just take it step by step, and like, don't think too much like, I wish I could do this or whatsoever. Like, think in solutions, not in problems.
Thank you so much, Johannes, for your beautiful, inspirational conversation with me. That was Johannes Voelkner, the founder and the owner of Nomad Cruise. I hope you liked our conversation, and stay tuned and see you in the other podcast. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so much.
This was our another episode. I hope you liked watching it. I hope you found the inspiration that we were looking for. So, this is not the last episode we're gonna make. There will be more episodes coming soon. So if you are still looking for a motivation, inspiration, you would like to spread the idea of motivation and inspiration to the other people, you want to support your family, and together we can create a big community, feel free to subscribe our channel, give us some comments, recommendations, feedbacks, and if you have any idea for somebody who is so special, just give it, send us the information about these people, and later on we can record the podcast for you. So until next time, see you soon and stay safe.